Hey guys, we got everyone's favorite, trying to drop that stupid spare tire. And this one here is a 2005 GMC Envoy, and part of the ticket that we did on this is, the spare tire won't go down. And the typical kind of dealio that they do, of course I got it fixed now, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it hang up. But you go to release it, and let's see if I can't just crank that a little bit. I know we're kind of dark back here, and get the light down there. So the tire would drop, let's bring that up a bit. The tire would probably drop to about there. Enough that you could kind of get it, you could wiggle it sort of like that. And you keep cranking on this thing, you keep going to lower, 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 and what you may end up seeing is you may see that the cable drops through, but the spare tire will not go any lower than that. It drops 2, 3 inches or so, just enough that you can kind of wiggle it, but it will not drop anymore. You can kind of pull on it, you can hammer it, you can do all the things to it you want. You can pull on the cable. Well, it has nothing to do with the cable. There's actually a safety latch mechanism in the hoist anchor, so that say if something were to happen, the cable were to break or what have you, then that won't drop and hit the ground while you're driving, flying down the road, right? It'd be pretty bad for people behind you. So let me get it up in the air and I'll show you what's involved and what I do at least to get these things down. Okay, so if you look right now, that's kind of about how much drop you get when these hang up. And it's pretty much the same on all the Chevys, and some of the other vehicles will kind of have similar mechanisms. So this one's particularly, actually that's even more room than you get normally. But we'll leave it at that so I can get a better shot. This one's particularly awful because you got the skid plate that holds up the charcoal canister here. I was seriously debating whether or not, I don't know if you can see those over there. I was going to pull out those fasteners and try and drop that charcoal canister to get that out of the way, just so I can get to this thing. On this one here, I don't know when or if that spare tire's ever been down. So it did have the rubber grommet on the end of the hoist, the spare tire hoist. So I had to cut this. There's no way I was getting to it with this in place, and you know what, it is what it is. So yours may vary, yours may have it, yours may not. They do have, most of them should have something like this, some kind of hole in them where you could theoretically pry the latch mechanism out without destroying this, but good luck. I cut them out because what's the alternative? The alternative is you're not using your spare tire. Yeah, it's not getting more seized than seized. So this is what I did, is kind of had about this much room, actually a little bit less than that. I just kind of got in there, cut out that rubber just so I can get access to the chain hoist mechanism. And if we turn it around, now if you see that side right there, that's not the side with the latch that hangs up. It'll actually be the other side. So if we keep turning it, try and keep the light in a good spot where it's not shining right at the camera. We keep going. Yeah. Okay, so this one's, it appears that it's now kind of stuck in the released position. I don't know how well you can see that right now, but this end right here, that's where that hangs up. That's where it's got kind of a latch mechanism. There's a little fingers at the top of that, and that will stick out and it will catch right on here. So oh, great, we got lovelies outside. So anyways, that will catch right on there. So the cable will continue to drop. But this whole mechanism, I know you can't really see very much, I can't really point very well. That whole mechanism will hang up, and that'll cause the tire to hang up. So I'm gonna lower the tire a little bit more, and maybe I can get that to stick and kind of show you what it was doing. Okay, so I lowered it a little bit more, and I can't quite get it to catch to show you exactly what it was doing, but hopefully you can make out the fingers here. This is in the released position. So normally when this gets stuck, those will overhang, they'll come out, and they'll overhang on this guy right here, and that's where it gets stuck. So you know, I've heard some people, a couple of people I worked with, you know, they try to get up in these. Sometimes you'd have little holes that you could poke a screwdriver in there, but usually what I found, when these get stuck, they get so rusted that I haven't had any luck poking them in with screwdrivers, particularly on a vehicle like this. Like, you just got no room. So I actually go from the bottom and I go up. So let me kind of position that for you, and I'll show you what I do. This part usually needs a second person, but I got lucky by myself. Okay, so what you'll want is you'll want a nice flat blade screwdriver, something like this, something that's kind of about 1 foot long, that's got a skinny blade but nice and thick and sturdy, because you'll need to kind of put a little bit of pressure on there. So we'll climb underneath. Okay, so hopefully that's showing up on camera, but if you look to the left, you can see the side that's kind of got a tang sticking out. Well, that's not the side with the latch. If you see that, then you need to rotate it over to where you can kind of get to the other side. So of course this side right now, it's in the release position. I can't get it to hang up on there. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to raise the tire with the jack tool, because you don't want it actually resting on those fingers, otherwise you'd never get it out. So you'd raise it so it's slightly above, and I know okay, so you'd raise it so it's slightly above, and then it's gonna be really hard to kind of show, just the lighting so bad in there. You kind of pry this in there against those fingers, and you'd push them away from that lip, that ledge, and then you get someone else to kind of slowly lower it as you're prying it back, and it does come. Okay, so this is what it looks like lowered. So again, when you're kind of going underneath, if you see this side right here with that tab that's bent out, that's not the side that catches. Kind of rotate this over, everything's kind of dangling precariously. Well, not precariously, but it's gonna be, trying not to move you all over the place. But this side right here, let me grab one of these. See if I can't get that to actually come out a little bit. Not that I want it to come out. At this point, I kind of like it stuck in the release position, unless of course if the cable breaks and I'm driving behind them, then I would not like it. Okay, so this is kind of what it looks like when it gets jammed. Hopefully that's showing up better than I think it is. I'm just kind of squeezing on this back end to kind of pull those fingers out, and thankfully now it's free, so it is going back to the release position. But when these rust in place, they'll stick out like that, and then that's where that catches up on. So the other piece of advice I want to tell you, until you get this thing down, really try to avoid the temptation to spray it. Do not spray this with any kind of penetrant until you have it down. The reason why is it's going to be full of rust. So if you spray it to begin with, you're never going to have a chance to knock the rust loose. It's just going to turn into a gum, a type of gumbo, and just kind of stick there as a sludge. So you want it dry so that you can pick away at stuff and kind of tap away at it so that dust will fall. Once it's down, and then once you can work it back and forth, then yeah, you spray the ever-living snot out of it, try to work it all the way around, try to get that stuff all cleaned up. And then, you know, of course, if you get it to go, then what you want to tell them is for the next, you know, every time they come in, every 3 to 6 months, make that part of the oil change where you drop it, you spray it, you work it back and forth, and you do that for a while, and then hopefully, you know, you can get some more life out of it. Of course, anytime you got a spare tire down, don't forget to put some air in there, because yeah, they get missed. When the tire's the other way around and the valve stem's pointing down, yeah, occasionally that might get some air, but when they're like this and they're facing up, yeah, ain't no one putting air in that thing. So just wanted to pass this on. I know I have dealt with quite a few of these before the first time I had one where the guy really wanted it fixed, and kind of, yeah, this is what I've encountered, this is what I've done, and it seemed to work well for me. So just wanted to pass it on. Hopefully I can help you guys out. Let me know what your guys' experiences are, what you've done in the past, what you've had work for you. You know, have you been stuck on the side of the road when you found out the stupid thing wouldn't come down? You know, I love hearing all people's experiences and kind of learning new tricks and new ways that other people do things. That's why I'm doing these, you know. Just me and the boss here, so it gets kind of lonely sometimes. Anyways, as always, just want to say thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.